Jenner here. It's day 194 since wildfire was declared, and 63 days since the disease abruptly went global. There's no clinical progress to report.
Hey Walking Dead fans, this is a video about the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, from Season 1. We get a little bit of recorded video from the CDC at the end of Episode 5, and then Episode 6 is entirely at the CDC.
Item. Still not sleeping well. Living on the ground doesn't help. Not knowing if it's day or night.
Okay, I want to try to answer some questions with this, hopefully. Like, some people think the walker on the screen, the brain, was patient 0. It wasn't. And some people think maybe the whole plague, the whole outbreak started at the CDC or from them, and it didn't. There is a point that Dr. Jenner lists some of the stuff that they have there, like weaponized smallpox, but that's not an indication that that's what got out or something got out. He only meant that they have that there, they have all kinds of things there, and the reason the CDC is going to explode is to try to contain those things. Some people, some actors, Andrew Lincoln, some others, they toured the CDC and said they do have safety protocols in place, but they don't think it's an explosion. And then there's a lot of people who think maybe that this isn't canon because it didn't happen in the comics and the producers don't really acknowledge it anymore and the show doesn't, but more on that in a little bit. For right now, we'll accept it as canon. So let's go over it. Here we see a frame that says wildfire active on it. Wildfire is more of probably protocols of a directive, not necessarily a project. Either it was called wildfire once they found that there was an unknown pathogen out of control, or they already had a protocol and some directives in place called wildfire that when something like this happened, they would initiate those to try to contain it. The part where Jenner talks about the French, he talked about communications going down, directives going down, etc. The title of the episode is an homage to Michael Crichton's The Andromeda Strain, which involves studying a pathogen in an underground laboratory. If you're interested in discussion of what might have caused the virus, check out the 2 videos, What Caused the Virus, and the clues from Fear the Walking Dead, What Caused the Virus. Links in the description and at the end of this video.
It's day 194 since wildfire was declared, and 63 days since the disease abruptly went global.
So in this clip he says it's been 194 days since wildfire was declared. They take directives from Protocol Wildfire to try to maximize containment and figuring out what it is. And then he said it's been 63 days since the disease, which they still don't know what it is, abruptly went global. And abruptly is a key word, could mean a lot of things. So we go into a scene where Jenner is suiting up, he goes into the lab, he's working on some brain samples labeled TS19, and during that he causes a lab accident which ultimately decontaminates the lab, which means it destroys everything inside. Since all TS19 samples are destroyed, he has nothing else to work on. He was able to look at the samples just before the lab accident through a microscope, and it looked like 2 cells exchanging DNA, then mutating. So then, right at the end of episode 5, Rick and the others show up, and Jenner lets them in. Jenner tries to explain to the group a little bit of what happened.
Rick Grimes.
Dr. Edwin Jenner.
Bring up the lights in the big room. I'm in. It's just me here. I'm all that's left.
What the hell happened here, Doc? All the other doctors. They were supposed to be figuring out what happened. Where are they?
Well, when things got bad, a lot of people just left. Went off to be with their families. And when things got worse, when the military cordon got overrun, the rest bolted. Many couldn't face walking out the door. They opted out. There was a rash of suicides. I'm it. It's just me here. I'm all that's left.
Okay, then when they started asking more questions, he shows them TS-19 on the big screen. He says very, very few people has even seen it.
Few people ever got a chance to see this. Very few.
Is that a brain?
An extraordinary one.
Using 3D imagery, it zooms into the brain.
What are those lights?
It's a person's life, experiences, memories. It's everything. Somewhere in all that organic wiring, all those ripples of light, is you. Those are synapses, electric impulses in the brain that carry all the messages. They determine everything a person says, does, or thinks from the moment of birth to the moment of death.
He says here that this person was bitten, infected, and voluntarily allowed to be experimented on. He hadn't told them yet that it was his wife.
Test subject 19. Someone who was bitten and infected and volunteered to have us record the process. It invades the brain like meningitis. The adrenal glands hemorrhage.
He shows the victim dying.
The brain goes into shutdown, then the major organs. Then death. Everything you ever were or ever will be, gone.
Then he shows them reanimating.
The resurrection times vary wildly. We have reports of it happening in as little as 3 minutes. The longest we heard of was 8 hours. In the case of this patient, it was 2 hours, 1 minute, 7 seconds.
It restarts the brain?
No, just the brain stem. Basically, it gets them up and moving.
But they're not alive. Most of that brain is dark.
Dark, lifeless, dead. The frontal lobes, the neocortex, the human part, that doesn't come back. The you part. Just a shell driven by mindless instinct.
And then it shows him shooting the patient in the head. And when asked if he has any idea what it is, he really goes through a list of all possibilities, so he doesn't know it all.
You have no idea what it is, do you?
It could be microbial, viral, parasitic, fungal.
Or the wrath of God?
There's that.
In the videos from season 5, he mentions that the disease has already went global. The group is just now finding this out.
Somebody must know something. Somebody, somewhere.
There are others, right? Other facilities?
You don't know? How can you not know?
Everything went down. Communications, directives, all of it. I've been in the dark for almost a month.
So it's not just here. There's nothing left anywhere. Nothing. That's what you're really saying, right?
Here, where he's talking about the French, that they were the last to hold out, he goes on to say that their power failed also, but here he says they were close to a solution. He doesn't say cure, or he doesn't say answer. The solution could have been something like an easy way to get rid of the walkers, or was it somehow to fix the infection so when we die, we don't reanimate?
It was the French.
What?
They were the last ones to hold out, as far as I know. While our people were bolting out the doors and committing suicide in the hallways, they stayed in the labs till the end. They thought they were close to a solution.
What happened?
Same thing that's happening here. No power grid. Ran out of juice.
There at the end, when the generators are about to shut down, Jenner's going to stay and die. We see him say, "I'm sorry," to his wife.
I did the best I could in the time that I had. I hope you'd be proud of that.
And he also locks everybody in.
You just lock us in? You just locked us in!
What happens? Come on! 28
You
minutes.
know what this place is? We protected the public from very nasty stuff! Weaponized smallpox! Ebola strains that can wipe out half the country! Stuff you don't want getting out, ever!
Jenner explains to the group what will happen when the timer
In the
runs
event
out.
of a catastrophic power failure and a terrorist attack, for example, HITs are deployed to prevent any organisms from getting out.
HITs?
HITs, high-impulse thermobaric fuel-air explosives, consist of a two-stage aerosol ignition that produces a blast wave of significantly greater power and duration than any other known explosive except nuclear.
Sets the air on fire. No pain.
And then he lets them know that
others
TS-19,
Why?
Test Subject
Not
19,
because
was
I
his
wanted
wife.
to. I made a promise to her, my wife. She begged me to keep going as long as I could. How could I say no? She was dying.
She was a loss to the world. Hell, she ran this place. I just worked here. In our field, she was an Einstein. Me, I'm just Edwin Jenner.
Then, of course, there's the famous scene of Jenner whispering into the ear of Rick, which we found out later is that everyone is infected. I'm sure he gave him a warning, watch out for anybody that dies. Everybody's infected. And then, of course, the CDC explodes. So if you're a Walking Dead fan, you'll notice from season 2 on, no one ever mentions the CDC again. Even when they meet Eugene and Abraham and Rosita trying to get to Washington and talking about a cure, they never said, "Oh, we met this guy Jenner at the CDC." And it just never comes up. And it is something that the show and Kirkman seems to regret happening. Kirkman has even tried to show Jenner as being a bad guy, one of the villains.
Dark, lifeless, dead. The frontal lobes, the neocortex, the human part, that doesn't come back. The you part.
This you part that Jenner described to them seems like they would bring up several times when they come across people that thought maybe there was some humanity still left in a reanimated Walker. They never told Herschel what they found out at the CDC, even after they found out that he was keeping walkers in the barn.
Right. You can't just keep us here.
One tiny moment, a millisecond, no pain.
My daughter doesn't deserve to die like this.
One other scene I'd like to point out that's kind of funny is Carol saying that we shouldn't have to die like this. My daughter shouldn't have to die like this. Well, flash forward a couple of seasons, and I don't think your daughter should have died like that either, Carol. All right, that's it. That's the breakdown of the CDC. I know I probably left some stuff out here and there, but if you have questions, comments, or more stuff to add, please add it to the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more dead stuff.